That's what I thought, right? Give myself some room today. Alright. Can I have a moment? Clear out this energy so we have fresh, intentional, loving energy, action oriented. Let's get them. That's better. Boo, 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 boo. Fraction it up, fraction it up. I love it. Hi, Samir. How are you? What is my saying? Talam and Bob, welcome. I don't know where I put it. That's okay. I'll just set it there for now. Give me 1 minute. I'm getting my crap together. Welcome, Sam. I hope everybody's doing well today. Winter drives me crazy. I mean, gotta be grateful always, but it does. It makes my lips dry. It drives me absolutely nuts. I hope everybody's doing well. 3,000 plus. What is that? Oh, I can't pay attention to that stuff. I don't care. All right. So if anybody has seen my post, I always post about it the week before, and then we lead up for the month of December. For the first set last month was the Fire and Flow. Samia, welcome. And if you missed that and you want to go check it out, you can go to my website here, creativelyguided.ca. I have my healing hub, my content. It's free, so you don't have to sign up or buy anything. It's just there. You can always go watch the replays. It links to them. Also, you can follow me on YouTube at Creativity Guides Me. Always for the replay. I usually post them pretty quickly right after. Happy JC, welcome. And Priya, welcome. Mia. So this one's the intentional grind. So if you've seen any of these posts going around, pardon me, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about aligning, beginning from center. Last week was the still point. So we were kind of talking about how to get to that still point, how to intentionally create that still point. And sometimes it seems tricky when we got a lot of stuff going on. Welcome, Moon Bunny and Maskin and Enrique. Welcome. So this is just knowing kind of when to push, when to act, and when to move forward, right? How are we moving forward? Are we going to move forward from a space of crazy rushing around, trying to keep up, trying to do this? Or are we like, if I do that one extra thing, that one little extra thing, and sometimes it depends on where you're at, okay? So, welcome, Robert. When I say this, it could be as crazy as, today I'm going to get up and I'm going to do 3 of those dishes. And, you know, if you're going through a struggling point, like seriously going through a struggling point, and many people do go through it, so there's no judgment ever. And I've been there, so when I tell you, I'm not saying this for any other reason, but it happens, you know, when you're struggling, trying to get everything together, trying to deal with everybody's expectations except your own, it becomes overwhelming. And then the simplest of tasks, like literally the simplest of tasks, can seem insurmountable, right? And that's not what we want. We want to say, okay, today I'm going to get up and I'm going to do 3 of those dishes. And you're going to intentionally get up no matter how much energy it takes. Get up and you're going to do that. At the end of the night, you're like, you had your dinner dishes and you're like, I'm really tired, but I'm going to get up and I'm going to do those dishes so tomorrow I wake up and my sink's not full. And I struggle with that too. So there's no ever judgment. Mian, welcome. So it's just understanding. So last week was the still point. We learned how to pause without shame, how to breathe without guilt, and how to step out of survival mode long enough to hear ourselves again. We learned how to create that still point and come back to it, which was really, really important. The still point wasn't about doing nothing. It was about learning to calm the internal storm so you can actually see the path ahead. And then this week, we're shifting the energy. Now that you know what your grounded body feels like, we begin practicing movement from that place. Not from fear, not from urgency, not from panic. We're literally taking that moment, and that's why I always talk about your morning ritual. You're going to take that calm moment, that moment to sit there and breathe in just utter peace, right? And from that point, you're gonna say, what is one actionable step that I can take today that is going to help me? It's going to make my tomorrow better. It's going to make my day flow just a little easier. And sometimes that one actionable step is literally sitting there for one moment and allowing your space to breathe, allowing yourself to understand you are safe here and now, and anything you decide to do from that point on is your choice, not somebody else's expectation of you. So literally that little tiny moment of sitting still like this could be your one intentional step. And if that's how it has to start, then that's fine. It's about starting. It doesn't matter if it's messy. It doesn't matter. It's about doing it. Just doing it. Jameser, welcome. So, what the intentional grind really means. That's what this week is talking about. People hear grind and you think exhaustion, burnout, pushing until you break. And I know that one very well. And still I fight with that. So that's, especially if you're hyper independent, if you had to do these things by yourself with no help, you don't have time to sit down, and you cannot, there's always a reason why sitting down is not okay, right? Time to lean, time to clean, all those things that have always been propped in your head. But how do we clean out our brain? How do we clean out the resentments, the worry, the fear, the anxiety, if we don't take those moments, right? The intentional grind is different. It is the moment you say, I'm moving forward, but I'm doing it my way, at my pace, from my center. Ed the Lover, welcome. And welcome, Ashley. This week teaches you to move only from grounded intention, not panic. Take one small step that reduces tomorrow's heaviness. Understand the difference between productive movement and chaotic hustling. Shift from survival-driven reaction into aligned action. Build consistency without self-punishment. So, 10:10 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. Basically what happens is life, things get busy, and especially in December, the holiday seasons, it gets extremely heavy and chaotic because you're trying to live up to everybody else's expectations, and you tend to forget what your own are. And the idea is if I can get you to just focus for 1 minute and not worry about anybody else's expectations but your own, what would I like to do today? What would be the best thing that I could possibly do? So this is something so small for me, but for some of my friends, some of my greatest supporters, I've been making some little gift bags for Christmas, right? And I know they're hustlers. They work their butts off. So the whole point of these little gifts that I'm making are about settling in and creating that me space. understanding that you're inherently worthy, right? And when you try to learn that and understand that from a place of I have to do everything myself, finding that balance can be really chaotic, right? Welcome, Vine, and hate the snow. Don't we all? Welcome, P. Oh. So why people feel stuck and what we're actually addressing. Most people aren't lazy. They're overwhelmed, tired, stretched thin, ashamed of not keeping up, or frozen from pressure. This week, what I'm trying to get us to focus on is you don't need giant steps. You just need aligned ones. Take a tiny action taken from clarity is worth more than 100 panic-driven steps. Movement doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. You're not behind, you're recalibrating. When we take that moment to say, yeah, I can run here and run there and run there and just be all over the place, driving crazy, stressed out because I'm driving in the bad weather or whatever, you can do that and go, but then everything feels stressed, anxious, disorganized, chaotic, worrying, right? Now you're driving, and instead of relaxing and being comfortable, you're driving, gripping the wheel because you're stressed out. Or you can just take a moment and say, okay, well, I know if I do this, I can rearrange and go over here. And that is an intentional action step, right? I know that this is not that important, but if I do this and I create an actual plan and I drive this way, this way, this way, and I hit everything in a circle, I know as I'm finishing my task, I'm coming directly home. So this is necessity, this is not. This is not. So we cut out what is not necessity. But don't cut out those things that are for you either. We want to, if you're going and doing that whole circle, that one little thing that's just for you, whether it's to stop and get a tea or go sit somewhere or stop by the lake for 10 minutes, do that. Don't ever short yourself on those moments for you, ever. And don't feel guilty for them, because you're the one who shows up every single day, no matter what happens. Welcome, Gerbs and me, Marks. Welcome. So, intentional movement, what it looks like in real life. Intentional movement is answering one overdue message instead of trying to clear the whole inbox. Washing 2 dishes instead of shaming yourself for a full sink. Writing the one sentence you can instead of avoiding the whole entire project. Making one decision that makes tomorrow lighter. So, it's not about big things. But when you commit and you get yourself up, I can almost guarantee every single time, if you say, I'm going to answer that one message, okay, once you commit to it, you get yourself to the space where no matter what's going on today, I'm committing to this. Especially if it's something that's been hindering you, something that, is making you feel shame or guilt because you haven't caught up, right? So I'm going to answer that one overdue message. So you get to that, right? And then you commit to that. But what happens is when you commit to that and then you show up and you start doing it, almost every single time you're going to get to 2, 3, 4 messages. You're going to continue, right? Because you're going to feel empowered. And then that makes tomorrow a little bit lighter because that's something off your task, right? Washing 2 dishes. Okay, if you say, I'm going to wash 2 dishes instead of the whole sink, but you get up and start doing it, I guarantee you're going to do half the dishes or more, probably all of them, because you're already doing it. When you intentionally say, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to hold guilt or shame about it, we all get weighed down. We all have a lot of things going on. The idea is that we can find that sweet spot. We can find that moment of peace, that moment of alignment, and then we can come back and say, what is it that's hindering me so bad? What is it that's making me feel that shame or that guilt or that anxiety? So whatever that is, we're going to take one step to complete that. And it doesn't matter what it is. It really, truly, it doesn't matter. If it's got to be committing to doing 1 or 2 dishes in the sink, I almost guarantee you, if you get up and you start doing it, you're probably going to complete the task, because it's not about completing it. It's about getting up to start it. Because if we don't just start it, it'll just sit there, and then it's going to hinder us, and it's going to shame us, and it's going to block us, and we're going to feel guilt and all those things that we don't need to feel. The Chuzo, welcome, and J-Bo, welcome. So, yeah, and writing the one sentence you can instead of avoiding the whole entire project, right? So if you're writing a book or you were working on something and you're like, I just don't have it in me today to do it, and sometimes the rest is okay. But if you've been kind of putting it off, welcome Susie and Keisha. If you've been putting it off, say, I'm going to commit to one sentence. I'm going to commit to one paragraph. And do that and show up and write the one that you can. And if you have to write just that one and walk away and leave it, it doesn't matter. You showed up and you did what you were doing. That's the intentional part about it. And when you're intentional like that, the moment you commit to it and then you show up and you actually do it, your brain signals, I showed up for me. I believe myself. I'm more empowered. I have nothing to feel guilty. And it becomes a small, very small celebration, but a small enough of a celebration that it continues to empower you to do more. I promise. That one small little step that you commit to and then go actually show up and do tells your brain, tells your soul, tells your body, tells your inner child, and tells the universe, I'm showing up intentionally and I'm trying to do the very best I can. Welcome, Big John and Keisha. So, small aligned steps compound. Forced hustle collapses. If you feel like you have to do this and you're doing this, you're first of all never going to get enough done. There's always going to be something that keeps you in that space of I shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? But when you take small aligned steps, if I commit to that one step, to that one sentence, to answering that one email, to doing just 2 dishes, don't even worry about the sink, to just making my bed, to I'm going to sweep the floor tonight so that I don't wake up in the morning with stuff on my floor. Like, the smallest of things. It's about when you make that intention and you do that, when you wake up the next day, you don't have that, you have less guilt. You showed up, you did it, and it makes it easier. You're not being weighed down from all of this other stuff that you don't need to be weighed down. And you don't have to worry about anybody else's expectation but yours. So the difference between hustle and alignment. Chaotic hustle is driven by fear, feels frantic, burns out your nervous system. By the end of the day, you're just drained, exhausted, and you didn't really do anything, right? You just one or two small things, but it was just absolute insanity, and it felt like everything was climbing up the mountain. That's the chaotic hustle, and we don't really want that, right? It leaves you feeling never enough. You're never getting enough done. You're never accomplishing. When you have a aligned action, you're driven from your center. You took that moment, right? You literally took that moment. You breathed in and out. You weren't coming from fear or comparison or competition, right? You took your warrior stance and you said, this is what I'm committing to. This is what I'm going to do. And I don't care if I get 2 steps of it done. I said I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it. Then when you complete the task, right, even just the small amount that you said, you don't have to complete the entire task. Just whatever you committed to doing, when you get to that point, I promise you, almost every single time you're going to be empowered to take the next step, to keep going and do so much more. Stally? Oh, sorry if I butcher your name. Still going. And Frank, welcome. So the idea is when you take that space and you take that moment and you choose your action, you're not choosing it from expectation. You're not choosing it from guilt, shame, fear, anxiety. You're saying, I've been living under all of this for so long and I've had enough. So I'm going to take that one step. I'm going to do 2 dishes out of that full sink of dishes. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do 2. And even if it's the hardest thing I have to do in this whole world, I'm going to get that done today. And then you're going to get up and you're going to do those 2 dishes and you're going to be like, well, I'm here. Do 2 more. And we'll see if I get half the dishes done. You've already beat out that negative, that fear, that shame, that guilt by taking that intention and stepping out to do it. That's an aligned action. And when you do that, it's empowering because it's your body, your physical body showing up saying, first of all, speaking to the universe, I commit to doing this. I am going to do this. So when you do that, you show up and you start beginning to trust yourself, right? That shame, that fear, that anxiety, all those things, they can't really hang about when you're trusting yourself, when you're showing up for yourself, and when you're loving yourself through it. And when you show up like this with that aligned action, that's one of the best forms of self-care. It's not about buying things. It's not about doing this, saying, I am going to do this. I'm going to be accountable to myself. And I'm going to show up and I'm going to do it. And even if I don't complete the entire task, I committed to this much of it and I'm going to do that. But I can almost bet almost every single time when you do that little committed action, that aligned action, those 2 dishes is going to turn into the whole sink full. And then you're going to look and you'll be like, holy crap, that's done. And tomorrow, the next day, you're going to wake up and you're going to feel that much more free, that much more centered, and that's much more empowered, right? Because now you don't have the weight of the guilt, shame, fear, anxiety, all of those things because you did that one action. And then you're going to start the next day and you're going to say, okay, I'm focused, I'm steady. What is my one centered step I want to take today? What is my one warrior action that I'm going to take for myself? Okay, not for anybody else, but for myself. Whether it's creating, like, all these little things, I create all these, right? All my action steps, all of, I live through this. I do this every single day. So it's not just like, I'm not just making it up or figuring it out. I'm trying to tell you that this is how I had to heal and how I had to grow. Is it going to work every single time for you? No. But these little simple steps, it doesn't have to be exactly what I did. Getting up and doing the dishes, making sure to sweep the floor before bed so I didn't wake up being crazy over it. Those small little steps were the biggest jump, right? They were the biggest increase because they empowered me to do something else. And it doesn't matter what that small step is. Literally, answering an overdue message. Writing one sentence of, my work and all my stuff that I write, my notes, sitting down, understanding it and taking a moment. Today, when I'm done this live, I do my ads for the next week. And I compose them, compile them, do all the things. Sometimes I get them posted right away. Other times I have to drag it out depending on how life goes. K-Vamp and Sasboo, welcome. And that's okay. I learned because I used to be so upset about it. I would be like, I have to get this done, this done, this done. And then I was going out of anxiety and stress and need where I was like, I'm not getting enough done. Meanwhile, I didn't even realize what I was actually doing. Like what a normal person would do and what I was doing, because I was trying to do all of the hats in one day, in one sitting. And sometimes it can happen and it flows beautifully. And other times it's just so much, it's overwhelming. And I had to sit with this and I had to understand, I had to peel it back at what is causing me anxiety in this moment. What is it that is making it so hard for me? So that was what I mean by that intentional. Because if it's something that's one day flows and one day doesn't, there's something that you need to focus on, right? There's something that you need to sit with. And that's your aligned action, right? When you start to understand what that is. And then that one little extra thing that you did do today is obviously going to lower tomorrow's stress. And then it builds momentum, right? Because you showed up, you were accountable, you committed. I'm going to do this. Doesn't matter what it is. You told it, you spoke it out to the universe, your brain heard it, your soul heard it, and then you showed up and you did it, right? Doesn't matter how big or how small, but it's best to start with small ones. We're not trying to take big giant leaps right now. What we're trying to do is learn that no matter the steps, if we take one small step and each day we take one more smaller step, we're moving thousands of steps before we even know, right? Priceless One, welcome. I love that name. I love that name. All right. So this is the heart of week 2. This is kind of what we've been talking about, right? Move with intention, not urgency, not guilt, fear, or shame. Okay, that's the last thing that we want to do. And that expectation. Nobody knows what you're going through, okay, except you. Nobody knows your struggles. Nobody knows how hard it is sometimes to do the absolute bare minimum, to just show up for yourself, to get up and understand every single day you're breathing is a miracle, right? Every single day is a chance to do something different. And when you sit there like that and you say, I showed up today. And sometimes, man, I'm telling you, when I tell you I've had to belly crawl, I've had to just be like, I don't know how I'm going to make it through. But the only way I did it was one foot in front of the other. I was one small baby step. I'm going to do this today. I'm going to get up. I'm going to show up. And when you start doing it, I'm telling you, from what I've done in the last year by doing these small, tiny, tiny things, the empowerment, the understanding of what you're actually capable of is absolutely phenomenal. Too on God. Welcome. I don't understand the name, but welcome. Too Hazy. Sorry if I butcher it. Respectfully, I don't mean to. But so this is kind of the core teaching. Okay, don't rush. Don't freeze. Take one aligned action. Doesn't matter what it is. And if you get caught between two or three, maybe your one aligned action today is making the decision between two or three things that are really holding you back. Choosing one. That may be your one aligned action. And that's okay. Because if you show up for that one aligned action and you make that decision and you go, tomorrow when you make your next aligned action or later in the day or whenever you feel like, because you can do this 100 times in a day. It doesn't matter. You go to your still point, right, which was last week. You're going to sit to that still point. You're going to come back to that peace. I accomplished that one, whatever it was. I'm going to come back to that still point and say, what's the next thing that has been causing me chaos, that has been causing me anxiety, that has been making me feel less than? What is that? What is the next thing that is doing that? What is that thing that's nagging the back of my head that's making me feel not enough? Okay. So maybe let's focus on that for my next aligned step. I don't have to complete it, but if I can just step up and start it, take that moment and complete a small portion of it, how much more will that empower me for tomorrow, for the rest of the day, for this moment, right? It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 100. Start with 1. But once you realize how easy it becomes and how good at it you actually are without even knowing it or even having to practice, you become more and more empowered. Welcome, Dave. So is that one, don't rush, just take one aligned action. And this is always, if you can say that, get up at any time of the day, literally any time of the day, when the anxiety comes in, when it starts to make you feel anxious, overwhelmed, right? You're going to say, today, in this moment, I am going to take one aligned action. I am. That says to the universe, I commit. I am going to do that. And then you're going to show up and do that. And when you do that, the way you will feel so empowered, the strength, the confidence, right? The way that you show up for yourself says, I believe in me. It doesn't matter if nobody else in this world believes in me. I know God believes in me. And God's the one who put that one aligned action step into my brain. What is that one thing that's going to kick my ass in gear? Because we all struggle. We all go through those. And it doesn't matter if you're at your lowest point or at your highest point. If I'm doing, so I'm in a good space right now. We always have things, right? But really, truly, I'm in a good space. I have my business going. I'm working. I'm creating content all the time. I get to spend time with my daughter. I volunteer whenever I can because that's what I love to do. But every single day, what is the one thing that I can do today? So, and then at the end of every night, did I do the couple things that I said I was going to do? If so, yes, good, right on, celebration. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if you have a little treat or sit with your tea or just do a little dance. You're going to celebrate it because you did it. And then as you're doing it, take that moment and say, okay, what could I do tomorrow maybe, right? And then what happens is, what aligned step could I take tomorrow? Mark it down, write it down. And then you're going to sleep on it. And then when you wake up in the morning, you're going to say, okay, I got one from last night. Is there one that different from the one that I had last night that I picked out that I would like to take? Because now when you've slept on it, you've kind of had a moment. You've let it all sink in. And maybe you had a nice dream that just gave you a flash of something inspirational that might help you a little better. And if that happens, maybe that one aligned step in the morning, what you're thinking of, if you do that first, it might make that one that you had the night before much, much easier, right? It will feel less exhausting. And then you've done already 2 aligned steps for that day. And then it moves into a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th. And now all of your steps are intentional. Okay, there's always going to be things that take you off path, but you know how to find that still point. You know how to come back to that moment of peace. And then you know how to take your warrior pose and say, I'm back. I found my still point. What is my next step? How can I go to my next step and be empowered? And you're sitting in that moment, in that peace, in that absolute peace. You're breathing. There's no chaos. Doesn't matter what's going on around you in that moment. In this moment is peace. What is my next step? And how am I going to do it to be the best of myself? Sincerely, Moni, welcome, and be good, welcome. So, when we get to that place, right, we're warm, we're steady, we're grounded, it's a quiet push. We're not shoving ourselves, we're not forcing ourselves, we're not doing things out of somebody else's expectation, we're not doing it so someone else will stop nagging us. We're doing it so our own self will stop nagging us. We're doing it so that we know that this is something that's been hindering us. It's been this weight and this burden that we keep carrying with us because we just sometimes don't have the capacity. Which, by the way, next week we'll be talking about that. Understanding the difference, right? What we have to carry and what we have the capacity. And understanding what our capacity is, which is really hard to understand, but once you've done these other 2 steps and you know how to use them, it becomes a lot easier to understand what that capacity is without overwhelming ourselves. And you would be surprised what your capacity actually is when you get to that space. You're not making it up. You're not overwhelming yourself. I have days, when I tell you I have days, because I was more intentional in how I stepped out, and I didn't do it out of need, out of anxiety, out of all of the things. I've had days where the amount of stuff that I've completed would make people's head collapse. Would make people, like full-blown CEOs, all kinds of crazy stuff, be like, how did one human being do that? And the only reason it happened is because I learned how to take that still point, learned how to sit with myself, and I learned how to say, hey, this is my peace, and this is my intentional step forward. What is that going to be? And then I committed to it. Welcome, Kesha. So when you understand that and you learn that, these are 2 portions. But next week, we're going to be talking about the capacity. But when you get to this space where you know your stillness, the still point, which was from week 1, and then your action step forward, right? Your intentional action step forward, which is this week what we're talking about, how to do it, how to come about it, and examples of what that can be. When we get to that, then next week, all week before we get to the live, will be little ideas, little suggestions, little things that will be understanding what your capacity is in a way that's not going to hurt you, hinder you, or make you feel fear, guilt, or shame. There's enough of that in the world. You showed up every single day. You woke up, you were breathing, and you said, today I'm going to do something just a little bit to lighten my load. I'm going to show up intentionally for myself. Even if it's that 5-minute coffee break where we don't talk to anybody, we don't listen, watch our phone, we don't do any of that. We just show up and sit, and we just dream for a moment. Man, it feels good to just sit in that space and breathe and understand how safe you are. And then dream about something that you would just love to do. And I promise you, it gets that easy. And when you do that, you allow your space to dream. And then how do you ground that? You start with the dream, and you say, how do I get to there? And you come backwards. I can't do this yet. 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 But I can do this, 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 and this. So I can't do that all today, but I know if I take this step intentionally, and tomorrow I take this step, and tomorrow I take this step, and then this step, what happens, right? Then by the time you've taken these steps, all these other ones show up for you because you've done it from alignment, not chaos, not lack. You've done it out of commitment to yourself for what you believe. That is you telling the universe that you believe that you are inherently worthy of all of those things, right? And when you show up and do it, you tell your soul, you tell your inner child, you tell your highest best self, I'm coming. I see you. I don't know how to get there yet, but I know if I take this step and this step and this step, eventually I will get there. And that's all that you have to do. And when you start doing that, that's when you start to understand your capacity and stuff. That will be next week, so I don't want to dive into that too much. But like the first month, November, was the fire and flow. That was the alchemy. That was how to take all of the negatives, not always negatives, but taking the emotions and the trauma and all of these things and learning how to peel it back, understand it, validate it, and use that energy to benefit you moving forward. This one is learning how to be intentional with that energy, because it's always happening. It's always out there. But if we can take that energy and use it and be intentional with it, we can truly benefit ourselves and the people around us. Welcome, Alex. All right, so this, how this feels, right? It's like someone with a hand on your shoulder, right? That friend, that best friend, even your own hand. You're not stuck. You're recalibrating. It's okay. Take that moment. Figure out what it is that you want to do, and then be intentional, right? And then when you're recalibrating, let's do this together. Maybe you're your own hand for a while. Maybe you have to learn how to show up for yourself first, and that's okay. Be your own hand on your shoulder. Just know that your angels, your spirit team, your guides, God is there always at your back. Welcome, Dizzo Global. Welcome. So when you do that and you become that own hand on your shoulder, that own best friend to yourself, you literally know how to step out. And you're stepping out the same way you would do for your friend, right? Like your best friend. If you know they're struggling, you're going to show up for them and you're going to be like, man, let me come help you do your dishes. And there's no judgment. There's no fear. Because you would do that to somebody else. The whole point is, if they would do that for me, how can I show up for me the same way? And when you do that, and you don't do it out of guilt, and you don't do it out of chaos, and you don't do it out of expectation, you'll have Pooger Magic. Welcome. Some of these names kill me. All right. So when you stop rushing and start aligning, everything changes. Your energy lasts longer. Your decisions sharpen. You have more clarity. You have more ability to be intentional. And that is the most, if there's nothing else, that quiet moment and that intentional one step forward is the absolute deal breaker when it comes to stepping forward intentionally and empowering yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. And sometimes it could be as simple as, I'm committing to doing 2 dishes today out of that pile of dishes. Almost every single time you're going to do more than that. But committing to it and doing it, I'm going to make my bed today. I'm going to sweep my floor tonight before bed so I don't have to worry about the next day being struggle. I'm going to check 2 emails and answer them. I'm going to, doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to write 1 sentence for that book I've been trying to work on that I'm now delaying because I don't know how to do it. Or it feels like it's just too much or overwhelming. It doesn't matter what it is. It's being intentional and then showing up and doing it. And when you find that moment of peace, that little space, that one intentional step becomes a lot easier, right? So that's how you know what the decisions are. That's how you get more clarity. And then your path clears because you don't have to worry about all these other things you're doing right now or that have to be done. Because that's not the focus. The focus is that one intentional thing. And then when you go out from there, if you have to do it again, okay, this is hard, this is rough. Okay, I'm going to focus on the next one intentional thing. And each time you do it, when you get through the end of your day, you've done 100 intentional things. How did that happen? I couldn't even get out of bed yesterday, right? Because you made that choice and you committed to it. And by the way, after doing 100 intentional things, how empowered are you, for first of all, and second of all, how much does your soul start believing, holy crap, we can do it, and start showing up for yourself? Like, how much easier is it to commit to the next one once you've showed up and you committed and you showed up? It's because your soul is learning how to trust you, right? That inner child within you is saying, I see you becoming that adult I so desperately needed. You're teaching yourself to trust you, to trust your gut, to trust your intuition, to trust that you're going to show up for you like you would anything else, your job, an appointment, any of those other things. You're going to show up just for you, just for that thing that makes you feel better for you, right? You finally realize the truth. Your power was never in doing more. It was in doing what matters, and what matters to you. Not to the neighbor, not to your boss, not to your mom, not to your dad, not to the kids. Okay, yes, we still have to feed our kids and do all of the things. That's not, so don't twist my words in any way, shape, or form. Being a parent, yes, we do a lot of extra things. But intentionally saying, okay, no matter what's going on, whatever the kids are doing, I'm going to take 5 minutes today to sit by myself quietly. And that may be the hardest thing in the world to do when you have kids, but you're still going to do it. Hi, Susie. Welcome. It's not about ignoring your kids or putting yourself over your kids. Well, it is putting yourself over your kids to your mental health and those things. But obviously, as parents, we know everything we do kind of revolves around our kids. So those little 5 minutes, those little intentional things that we do for us, empowers us to remember that we are inherently worthy and we deserve the same love and care and kindness that we're giving to our children. And if there's nobody in the world that can do it for us, that's because we're meant to do it for ourselves. And when we give it to ourselves first, we help, we have more time, we expand more time, we're powerful, we're full, we're happy, we're joyful. So the things that we do for our kids and for everyone else, it just automatically comes from the overflow. It's not hindering us, it's empowering us because we need that time for us. Finding that balance, right? Many people say, oh, your kids come first. And yes, they do for a lot of things. But taking 5 minutes to yourself and saying, I deserve this moment of peace. I deserve this bath, this reset, this quiet time is not a bad thing. In fact, it's the most empowering thing you can do for yourself. So learning to understand the difference and the capacity, that will be a lot of next week. But right now it's just figuring out those intention steps, sitting still, that still point from last week. Now figuring out what that one intentional action is. Doesn't matter what it is, but figuring out what it is and then taking that step forward and committing to that and doing it. The smallest of things, but committing and then doing it. And then getting to the next one and committing and doing it. One foot in front of the other. It's one of the best things you can ever do. So, your decisions sharpen, your path clears. You finally realize the truth. Your power was never in doing more. It was in doing what matters. So this week we practiced the kind of movement that honors your nervous system, your life, your truth, your capacity. Not the grind they taught you, the grind your soul can sustain. And the thing that blows my mind is once you start to understand truly what it is that you're trying to do, you'll start to see the theme in what your intentional action steps are. And it will actually blow your mind because usually when you break it down and you start doing it, just commit to that one thing, you're like, wow, I actually didn't think that would be my intentional step today. But that one intentional step that you complete and then you go on to the next one is going to lead you to that surprising serendipity, that synchronicity that's going to be like, whoa, where'd that come from? It's going to bring you joy. It's going to bring you a smile on your face. It's going to make you feel really good. And it's always going to come with a surprise and a little treat from the universe. And it doesn't, you may not know what it is right away, but it could be just that little giggle, that little moment that brings you absolute joy, that peace and the calm that you're like, where did that come from? Man, that felt good, right? Alex Sunshine, welcome. When we start doing that and showing up for ourselves, those little rewards, those little things, those moments of peace that you're like, I don't even know how, I've never felt that before. I don't even understand where that came from. That's the hug from your angels. That's the universe saying, I see you, showing up for you, and you deserve every bit of this. And it's also a taste of that peace that you've been fighting for your whole life that you're not even sure what it feels like. And they'll give it to you, just the smallest little doses, because you showed up for yourself. It's like we already have it. We already have the capacity within us. We have it never ending. It's there. But we got to peel back through all the layers of shit that we've been piled on, the programming, the expectations, the everybody else's stuff. We got to peel back through that before we can even figure out what it is. And when you start showing up with that intentional step and you commit to it, what happens is there's a small, just even if it's a flash of a moment where you feel that peace and it just comes unwarranted, unasked for, but it's there and you're like, whoa, that felt really good. How do I find that again, right? And what happens is each time you take those intentional steps and you show up for yourself, you empower yourself, you start to feel that more often. You start to realize this is a space that I can get back to every single time when I start doing aligned steps, when I start showing up for myself, committing to whatever that small step is, not worrying about what other people think, just doing the thing that nags at the back of my head, the thing that causes me stress and anxiety and expectation because I'm worried about what other people are doing. When you focus on just what it is that you need, the universe is always going to reward you, sometimes in great big ways, but sometimes it's just the smallest little thing. But that moment of peace, that moment of empowerment, that's a boost. That's like a hug from the universe saying, we see you. We understand what you're doing. And that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Yay! They're clapping for you. They're celebrating you. And when that happens, that's a big thing. Okay, a lot of people don't know it because they're not used to feeling it. They're used to feeling expectation, overload, exhaustion. We're over that this year. We're over that. We've been doing that for how long in our lives? Most of us, if we're hyper independent and we're single moms, and even if you're not single moms, some married people are just as much single moms. So there's no judgment. It just is. Learning that no matter what we have going on in our lives, no matter who thinks this or that, it doesn't matter. What we have to look at ourselves in the mirror every single day. We're the ones who has to show up. If we don't show up in that family space, in that workspace, of, what happens? Right? We don't have to carry that anymore. The fact that we showed up and we did it with one intentional movement towards our betterment is going to empower us, and it's going to benefit our work, our space, our family, all of those things, because we're intentionally doing it, and we're not doing it for them. We're doing it for us. We're able to expand time. We're able to feel more empowered. We're able to be more creative. We're able to have more capacity because we're not being drained. We're not exhausted. We're saying, nope, I did this for me, and that's what matters. Welcome, Natasha and Stefano. So when we understand that space, it becomes a lot easier to step out for ourselves. So on the message, I always pull my little chunk of decks here because they're oracles. They're more about understanding our empowerment and our strength. And I love when Spirit confirms my message because these messages have saved my life. These ways I show up for myself literally have changed how I perceive things, how I rush about life, how I'm grateful, how I'm grateful to myself, how I love myself, and how when things are feeling low or feeling tough, how to get back to that sweet spot all the time. I've had to actively learn it, and I had to learn it with no help. When people laugh, when people judge, and I had to learn, who cares? I'm not competing with them. I'm competing with my person from the day before, right? Who was I the day before? Angel number 38. I like this one. So this is limits. Know that limiting attitudes are often formed as protective reactions to past events, right? We're filtering it through trauma, through all of those other things, through programming, through culture, through tradition, through religion, there's 1,000,000,000 ways, right? When we understand what it is and we move intentionally without that expectation, without that burden of all those things on us, we become lighter and those steps become a lot easier. So also angel number 38 maybe a good one to look into for this. So the limits card is an indication to ground your dream in reality, because limits are a part of life and of everyone's creative process too. This card is a reminder that being aware of our own limitations, of those of other people, and of the resources we have to accomplish our goals is a crucial part of living life creatively. The common denominator of human-caused suffering is poor decision-making. Amen. A common cause of poor decision-making is failing to take into account reality and the limits it imposes on your situation. The creative approach is to be limitless in allowing your imagination to inform and inspire you, and then allow the limits of the situation to help you define and shape your method to build up or otherwise influence the physical characteristics of a creative project. And when we look at it like that, literally look at it like that, and understand that those limits are there because of the theories, the culture, the stereotypes, the programming, all of those things that say you're only allowed to do this. But who said that? Who told you that? And why do you believe all of that? Because if you show up every single day and you're mastering your life every single day and you're figuring out one intentional step forward, who said you can't do that? Who set that limit? Welcome, Fatty Beeswax. Welcome. So when we understand that, it's just if we take that one intentional step, and if we show up in a way that says, maybe I'm not getting to that big thing tomorrow, but I know I can take 4 intentional steps towards that. And by the time I've done those 4 intentional steps, I know the universe has my back. So the 5th, 6th, and 7th steps are going to start showing up. And even if it's only the 5th step, I'm going to take the 5th step. And I'm going to walk blindly into the 6th step. By the 7th step, there's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? Because that's how the universe works. Faith is the biggest form of currency you're ever going to have. And if you don't have faith in yourself, and you don't trust in your own self and your own actions, you're not going to get very far, right? How can you trust God if you can't even trust yourself, right? God needs you to trust yourself, and then moving forward, be able to trust and understand what is yours and what God is trying to tell you, right? So being intentional with all those things opens you up to understand exactly what it is you want, what it is you believe, what it is you feel, and what God is trying to tell you. So that intentional still point and that intentional step forward is always going to get you to your dream. It'll get you to your next step, and eventually that dream, you're already there, and you're like, holy crap, how did I get here? How did I get this far? I don't even understand. Because you weren't focused on the end. You were focused on, this is what I would like to do. And I may not know how to get there, but I'm going to trust. And if I show up for myself with empowerment, with intention, doing one small step each day, 100 small steps a day, but one small intentional step at a time, as many as I can do, I'm going to turn around and look back when I'm already there and be like, I didn't even recognize I didn't even know I got this far, right? Because they were so small, you inherently start doing them. You do them just like you're breathing. You make those decisions that before were so complicated, that were so hard. The ability to get up and do 2 dishes in your sink was torture. It was impossible. How is that going to happen? But you chose to do it. And you said, that's the one thing right now that's hindering me so bad and I can't get past it. And you said, I choose to look at that fear. I choose to look at all of those things that are weighing me down. And I'm going to take one intentional step and commit to that. And then I'm going to do another one, and another one, and another one. And all of a sudden you're at your dream and you're like, what the hell happened? How did that happen? Because the universe, God, they showed up for you. Literally showed up and showed out. Taught you exactly what you're capable of. And when you start to understand exactly what you're capable of, because you're still alive, you're still breathing, you're still showing up every day. So you have a choice. Do you want to show up in negativity? And trust me, all of those emotions, all of them are valid, and it's okay to feel them, understand them, validate them, because they all matter. But we don't sit in them. We figure out how to understand, how to adjust, how to take that intentional step to get out of it, and we move forward. And when we learn how to do that, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop us. That's what, that was way too many. Can we just have one, please? One self-care for this message. I knew you were going to give me more than one, but I get it. So we have inspiration, which obviously self-care should always be inspiration. It should be our inspiration, and it should be what drives us every single day, because when we can do that, we can literally accomplish anything. Decisions are the frequent fabric of our daily design. Intentional decisions. It's so funny I love when Spirit confirms. Meditate on a big life decision that lies in front of you. What if your very ability to grapple with this choice is the true gift? What will you learn from this process? When you can understand that, and that's what I was saying, sometimes it's so complicated, it's so hard, to get up to, you have 2 or 3 things that are really hindering you, really struggling. Sometimes just that ability to make the decision, to have the choice, to choose one and step forward that way, right? You may have to still do the other 2, but if you complete that one, that's now you only have 2 that are nagging at you, right? But just the fact that you have the ability to make that choice, to grapple with those decisions, is a gift. It's an absolute gift. And when you start understanding that way, it empowers you, it emboldens you, and it makes you stronger than you can ever imagine. Because that one choice, because you decided that was a gift, and instead of letting those 3 decisions weigh at you and make you crazy, you made a choice. And now you only have 2 decisions that are nagging at you. But you took boldly that decision, and you made a step in that direction. Okay, these other decisions, yes, you'll have to get to them eventually. But guess what? They become a lot easier to do because you showed up. You made that intentional decision. You took that step, and the next step, and the next step. And what you'll actually usually find is when you keep doing that intentional step, those other 2 decisions that you had to make or that you had to accomplish are actually part of the steps of the intentional steps of that one decision you made. You'd be like, wait a minute, I had to do those and those. Well, I already accomplished them while I was doing this over here. You're going to be like, how did that happen? Whoa, I did all 3 of those steps and I didn't even know because I made a decision and stepped forward. That's how the universe surprises you with those gifts of greatness. Welcome, Soulful Essence, Elsa, and Jess in your head. Welcome. Oh, and Tyrone. So, the decisions, just that intentional step forward. Okay, that still point, that taking a moment. What is that one thing that I can do? And then that beautiful warrior step forward. Just the ability to make that decision and commit to it. Usually what happens is all those other decisions along the way that had to be made or had to be done, when you keep doing that next intentional step, they usually get taken care of along the way, and you're like, whoa, how did that happen? That's the gift from the universe, right? Welcome, Manny. And then we got, there are only 2 ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. List 3 ways in which today will be miraculous. That may be your first intentional step. Do you know a miracle when you see one? Do you? Do you know that you're breathing? 11:01 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. You know that you're breathing, right? You know that just the fact that you woke up out of your sleep, you were able to sit up in your bed, look around and say, I've never had this day before. This is a gift. That's a miracle. 1000% that's a miracle. Welcome, Versace. So list 3 ways in which today will be miraculous. Let's start with, I'm awake, I'm alive, I'm breathing, and I'm learning how to make this still moment, this moment of peace and joy, and I'm learning how to take that intentional step. That's like 5 miracles already, and you haven't even got out of bed yet, or maybe just got out of bed, right? And when you can reframe to that, those intentional steps end up in absolute miles, and you didn't even realize how you got there because you were just focused on that one intentional step. Welcome, Nanny Sue. And that, by the way, is also one of the purest forms of self-care that you'll ever see, that you'll ever find, and that you'll ever possibly accomplish. That is a gift from the universe. And when you treat it as such, you truly give yourself space to learn, grow, and not let the other shit bother you. You're not going to allow it to bother you because you stop caring so much about what other people think. Because you know how you show up for you every single day. You know how you've shown up. You've proven to yourself. I know what I'm doing. I know what God's telling me to do. I know what the universe is showing me. And I know how I feel when I take that one intentional step. So when we understand that and we give ourselves that grace and that moment to not care about what anyone else thinks of us, because it's not our business. We truly align with the things that we need, that our soul is telling us we need. And when we start listening to our soul and our inner child and our highest best self, all of a sudden it becomes a lot more aligned, right? And we're not all the way out here. We're not all the way out here. We're hearing as above, so below, and we're aligning it. And we're doing it just by not listening to the noise and intentionally showing up for ourselves. Welcome, Alicia. All right, can I have one gratitude card for this message? The intentional grind, how we can step forward intentionally. Okay, here it is. We got reflection. The time to relax is when you don't have time for it. Yeah. And that is a hard thing to learn. And I'm not going to lie. Especially if you're hyper independent. If single mom, working, doing this, doing that. Learning how to sit still quietly is almost torture in the beginning. Truly it is. And I understand that. So you'll never get judgment from me. I completely understand that. But once you learn to do it, and it's committing, just like you would commit to anything else, to your business, to your kids, to your husband, to whatever it is, that small moment, committing that to yourself, I need to have that moment because that's where your brightest ideas from. That's where your gifts from the universe. That's where your own empowerment, your moment of self-love, you're filling your own cup. That's where that comes from. It's beautiful when you can do it. But I know it takes a moment, and it's uncomfortable, and it's gross, and it feels weird at first because you're not used to it. And that feeling, that weird, uncomfortable thing is because you've been so guilted and shamed and expectationed out of not understanding that you are allowed to feel that way. And it's okay. But when you learn to sit in that discomfort for just a minute, you learn how to relax when you think you don't have time for it. You make time. Just like you make time for everyone else, for everything else. That's the intentional part about showing up for you and being in a space of gratitude and self-love. Take the time to relax and unwind before bed without your phone or other media. Read a book, journal your thoughts on the day. Hold on, this puzzle piece thing. There we go. Read a book, journal your thoughts on the day, or simply sit outside with the quiet and the night sky. Do your best to avoid screen time during this relaxation time. Doesn't matter how long it is. If you're unsure and you can only do 2 or 3 minutes, commit to it. Make that your intentional step, your little pause, your intentional step forward, your warrior step for yourself. That's what you make. Why? Because when you commit to it and you show up, then the next time turns into 4 minutes. The next time turns into 5 minutes. Before you know it, you're up to 15 minutes 3 to 4 times a day, which, by the way, you absolutely deserve, without question. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what you believe. You deserve chunks of time. And if that's 4 15-minute times, you deserve 1 hour to yourself a day out of 24. I don't even think that's greedy. I don't even think that's out of line. Some people don't even know how to give themselves 15 minutes out of the day. We don't care if we start small. Doesn't matter. Start with 2 or 3 minutes. Grow it into that. You're going to find that space is your most exciting thing for the whole day. You're going to find that place of peace, that place of kindness to yourself, that place of anti-anxiety, anti-stress. It's nothing's allowed here. This is my peace time. Get lost. If you're any of those things that are negative, we ain't got time for that. Right? Grab and chill. Welcome. When you learn that and you get to that, it doesn't matter. If that's your intentional step forward, that means you intentionally need to rest because you've been running ragged for how long? We're done with that. We're not killing ourselves while everyone else sits around and watches. We're going to show up for ourselves and we're going to love ourselves no matter what happens. Hi, Derek. Good morning. How are you? And then self-compassion is simply giving the same kindness to ourselves that we would give to others. Reach out to a loved one you trust for advice. These are simple things that we can do and really show up in a space of empowerment, right? Take the time to relax. The time to relax is when you don't have time for it. You have to make time. You have to commit to yourself, just like you would commit to your job, to your children, to your wife, to your husband. Commit to it. I don't care if it's 3 minutes. You're saying, I took my moment, my 30 seconds, my whatever, to make that decision. I take my warrior pose, my warrior stance, and that one step forward is going to be what is beneficial for me. Not for anybody else in this entire world but me. Today I'm committing to giving myself 4 minutes at a time. No technology, no nothing, no kids, no wife, no work, no nothing. 4 minutes. That will, to some people, that will seem like an absolute chore. That's going to seem like absolute horrendous idea. But if you commit to that 4 minutes, that little 4 minutes of just quiet, you would be surprised the ideas, the empowerment, the peace. The first couple might be a little uncomfortable, but you're being intentional. So you're going to commit to it. And you're going to do it again tomorrow. And you're going to do it again the next day. And by, maybe it takes a week in. Doesn't matter. By that weekend, you're going to be so good at it. And you're going to be so excited for that 4 minutes. That maybe next week you build it out to 5. Right? And eventually you have 4 sets of 15 minutes just for you. Just for quiet time. Just for loving you. And then you start to trust yourself. You step out stronger, happier, better. And you say, I love me so much that when I'm giving to others, it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hinder me. I don't feel without. I don't feel less than. I don't feel any of those things because my cup is full. It's so full, I don't even know what to do. I'm so full of emotion and love and caring and compassion and kindness that I can't help but overflow it into the world. Like, what kind of a gift is that? And it's because you learned how to show up intentionally, just for you. Welcome, CK. Can I you want to come out there? Bring love into the situation. That was the bottom of the deck. Let the moon be your guide. I love this one. Can I just have one on this message about the intentional grind, how we're going to step forward to be our best self? Something that helps guide the message and shows that. Is that the one? Yeah? Prosperity lies ahead. When we do those intentional steps, when we show up for ourselves the same way we show up for all of those people that we do in our lives, for our work, for our kids, for our husbands, for our wives, all of those things, when we show up like that for ourselves, it becomes so much easier, exponentially easier to show up for everyone else because you showed up for yourself first. Every step you took was intentionally for you. 11:11 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. That's new beginnings, stable foundations, and stepping forward boldly to your new adventure. I'm telling you, it takes a little bit of intention, but if we put it to ourselves and step forward properly in what we need, what's going to make us feel empowered, better, stronger, faster, more carefree, more childlike, a little less anxious and worried and fearful. When we step forward in that, man, what we can create. All right, new moon in Taurus. Oh, angel number 44. You are safe and you are loved. And you are worthy of being loved. Go look up that angel number. That is thank you, Spirit. That is always an extra message. And if you do the little homework, and you go look up the angel numbers when I line them up. What was the other one? 38, I think. And then this one, 44. Go look them up. Because when you read them, that little question, that thing at the nagging the back of your mind, the one that makes you feel kind of exhausted, you don't even want to deal with it, that question, but it's always there, nagging at you, I can almost 1000% tell you that those angel numbers are going to have that answer. They're going to hit that little question. They're going to give you that little empowerment, that little boost that you need. It's up to you if you want to do a little bit of homework. But if you take that moment and you go and you check out that angel number, I promise you, whatever that message is going to be so fully aligned with what you needed to hear. It's going to just make your whole heart explode. It saved my life a gazillion times. Welcome back, Susie. So we got prosperity lies ahead. This card will often come up when you're inquiring about a financial matter or when you're doubting your self-worth. This card suggests you can have what you want, including material things, but you must believe in yourself. And how do you do that? You show up intentionally for yourself. This comes down to the laws of attraction. Value yourself and others will value you too. You can create abundance. Taurus is associated with luxurious Venus, and this card holds the new moon energy. So now is a good time to make a 12-month financial plan. This card can also signal the start of a new relationship or of sexier times. If you've been wrestling with something for a long time, the new moon in sturdy Taurus is a sign not to give up just yet. Get or give a massage. Healthy body, healthy mind. You will soon be able to afford the thing you're dreaming of. Wouldn't that be nice? Getting clear on what you value most will help you find peace. Take some time out to pamper yourself. Intentionally. Like aligning with the message, I cannot. Spirit, I love you. Truly, learning how to show up for yourself intentionally takes you right directly to your prosperity, to your abundance, to your highest best self, to all of the greatness that you truly deserve. Angel number 44, you're safe, you're loved, you're worthy of being loved inherently. You already deserve it. You just have to believe it yourself. And the only way to do that is to start showing up for yourself. Take some time out to pamper yourself. Yes, I read it twice. It matters. Start a standing order to a savings account, no matter how small. It's a good idea. I actually should probably do that. We often feel that it's somehow wrong to focus on our finances, but the truth is that money can make life far more comfortable from a physical point of view. Taurus knows this, and the new moon in Taurus is the time to work your magic to create the money you want so you can have the creature comforts you want. That was a hard one to say. Sorry. Remember, though, that someone else is still wishing for what you already have. Doesn't matter how little or how big. The fact that you have the ability to wake up every single day and try again is a gift. anything that you have that is not a necessity, a TV, a cell phone, internet, a stove to cook your meals, like, those are all not necessities. They're gifts. They're something, they're a luxury. And when we treat it as such, we're a lot more grateful for it. It's not about punishing ourselves or torturing ourselves. We want to have all of the best things. Okay, we deserve all of the best things. But if we can't show up for ourselves with that same intention, how are we supposed to believe that? And how are we supposed to tell the universe? That intentional step forward, that intentional grind is what gets you to your prosperity. Because you're teaching yourself to believe in everything that you're telling yourself. You're not just saying it. You're doing the action and you're showing up. Marlon, welcome. How are you? Can I have just one work your light for this message? Intentional grind. The Great Gathering. Oh, I like that. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits and your soul tribe. I like this one. It's going to take me a second to find it, because apparently I can't read. The Great Gathering. Where are you? Angel number 96. Also look up that one. Usually when it makes me look extra hard, it means there's a message there. So we got angel number 38, 44, and 96. Those are the homework if you want to check it out. I can almost guarantee it's going to matter. And it's going to help you for sure. All right. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits. Your soul tribe. You're being called to let your intuition move you. Guess what? That intentional step forward. The intentional grind. I cannot, when Spirit confirms my message. Thank you. You're being called to let your intuition move you physically. You are connected to a group of souls who are weaving a web around the planet. And as you travel and share your creations, something is rethreaded. This card is an acknowledgement that you are either being called to connect with others who are like you at a soul level, or that you already are. You are being called to gather groups of people, either by leading them or becoming part of a group that can support you and your soul's personal mission. You are part of a group of souls who agreed to be here at this time in history to heal yourself, your ancestral line, and the planet. To raise consciousness so that we can continue to call this magnificent place home for eras to come. One of many consciously choosing to devote your life to something greater than yourself. It's time to call in your tribe by sharing your soul's voice and letting yourself be seen. When you share what is real and true to you, and you share the medicine that you most need, those who are like you will gather around you. You are your tribe. They are just like you. And just as you are longing and searching for them, they are longing and searching for you too. I choose now to let myself be seen. I am ready to call in my soul tribe and create a web of light over the planet. When we take that intentional step forward, we allow space. We allow people to see that this is what I believe. This is what I most desire. And when we do that, we're letting people see who we are at a soul level. We're not ashamed of it. We're not hiding it. We're not saying, I care what you think of me, or I don't care what you think of me. Because the truth is, what other people think of us is not our business. The truth is, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror every single day. And if we're constantly being hindered by that sink of dishes that just won't go away because I'm so exhausted, I'm so tired, and it seems like just the Mount Everest I cannot climb. That same Mount Everest that you can't climb, if you can just get to the bottom of it, and if you can commit to 2 dishes in that sink and do it, I promise you, you're going to get to 3, 4, 5, you're going to empty that sink of dishes, and you're going to come out of there. You will have already got over the top of the mountain, down the other side, and you're going to look back going, holy shit. But it never would have happened if I didn't take that moment and make that intentional step forward. And now the next day, you wake up and you're free. You don't have that holding you back. That's just one burden gone. But you released it. It's gone. So what's the next one that I could do? And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. These are gifts. And when you sit quietly for that moment and you find your center, you create that space. You allow yourself to decide what the next intentional step forward is going to be and how that's going to matter to you. Babies, I cannot. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, thank you. I cannot. Okay, so maybe all you don't know me. Maybe y'all haven't seen all my other content, all the things. But what the thing that I talk about all the time, nonstop, no matter what it is baby steps. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or a million. 11:21 on the clock. Spirit, I love you so much. And then angel number 36, 36, 38, 44, and 96. That's the running total. How I remember that, I don't know. But that alone I should be proud of myself. Because sometimes my brain feels like it's not even working. 36. This makes my whole heart melt. The confirmations here are just 11:22. The confirmations are just nuts. Look up that angel number 2, 11:22. 11:11 was in this one. 10:10. There's many. Anytime you hear me call out a number, there's a reason. Somebody needs that message. And no matter what, these are timeless. Okay, these are not. These messages, this guidance, this content is going to be still valid 10 years from now, 20 years from now. It's here. It's not going away. And it's something that when we learn to do it and we actually show up and do it, man, we can just move mountains. Literally move mountains. Can you imagine how amazing that is? Action. Follow your intuition before it makes sense. This is something like people say, why do you do this? Why do you come on? Why do you do all this stuff now? Even if I have only one person watching me, even if nobody's watching me, you know why it matters? Because I'm being obedient. And I'm doing that thing because I'm waiting for the world to catch up to me. And I'm not waiting. I'm moving forward. I'm just leaving the breadcrumbs along the way. And it's your job to decide if you want to pick it up and put it to use or if you want to ignore it. And either way, it's not going to hinder my journey because I know what baby steps mean and I do it every single day. Every single day I do it, no matter what it is. The good, the bad, the ugly. I understand this. And if you can understand this and you start putting this to work, you're going to go back and you're going to watch my other content. And you're going to be like, holy shit. You know, where'd that come from? Oh my God, that's so useful right now. I'm doing what I'm doing right now because I'm being obedient. And because I'm trusting myself. And because I'm trusting you guys. Because I know that once you realize it, I'm laying out the groundwork. I'm putting it here. And once you start showing up and actually watching it and listening and seeing the confirmation when Spirit confirms these beautiful messages, once you start doing that, it's going to be a lot easier for you to take those baby steps. It's going to be so much easier for you to just keep going even when you're scared, even when you're shaking, even when you don't understand the whole process. That's the shit that I'm trying to teach everybody, always. Good morning, Roseberry. These baby steps are it's the most amazing thing you can do for yourself. And you may not see it for a month. You may not see it for 3 months. But after 3 months, those little baby steps you've been doing, still living your life. You're living your life, but you're taking those intentional small baby steps along the way. And in that 3 months, you look on the other side and you crossed a bridge that you didn't even think you could get to, let alone over. Because you just showed up with intention for your damn self. The one person who needed it more than anyone else in the world. Because when you show up for yourself and you fill that cup, you're helping everyone else with their baby steps. You're leading by example and you're showing them exactly how to show up for themselves. I haven't even read the card yet. Sorry, but I talk a lot because if people are willing to listen, it's gold. I'm telling you the things that I've had to live through, that I've had to overcome, that I've had to show up and do even when it hurt, to the bottom of my soul, even when it hurt. But those baby steps are what kept me alive. Those are what allowed me to be here today and to continue to keep going Even when stuff is tough, some days I can do absolute miracles. Some days I can barely get out of bed. That's life. But I know if I can get up and do that one intentional baby step, that one thing in the direction of where I'm trying to go, then I've already won. And I'm never going to stop teaching it or sharing it, because that one person that learned that little baby step secret, it can actually show up and start putting it into practice. They've won their life. And that means all of my trauma, all of my struggles, all of my worries, all of my anxieties, all of my wins, all of my losses were not in vain. And that's a miracle. You're being called to take grounded action in response to your soul's calling, to start where you are and begin building in a consistent way. So many people stop themselves from living a soul-led life because they're waiting to know the destination before taking the first step. But intuition doesn't work like that. Our soul is always calling us every moment of every day. The way to find yourself living in harmony with the cosmos is to listen to your soul's baby calls and whispers each and every day, and to take grounded action in the direction of those calls and whispers. You're being encouraged to start small, bite size. I'm telling you, the confirmation on this just makes my heart want to cry. To put one foot in front of the other, to do one thing every day, to break things down into achievable tasks. Time on Earth goes slower than on other planets. This may cause frustration for starseeds, who can expect a faster pace of manifestation and thus give up before the seeds begin to sprout. If you resonate with that, it's time to opt for consistency over urgency. Time to take baby steps in the direction of your calling. To remember that you don't need to have it all figured out or know exactly where the path is leading you. You don't have to know every single step along the way before you set out on your great journey. You just need to take the next step. What's one simple baby step you can take in the direction of your soul's calling? If I cannot begin to tell you the intentional grind. One baby step. I don't care if it's getting up to wash 2 dishes in your sink that's been full for 3 days because you're just exhausted and you're tired and you're depressed and you got all the things weighing you down. I don't care if it's answering one email. I don't care if it's writing that one sentence on that project that you've been trying to do and you can't do because it feels like it's just a mountain and you can't believe you took on all that and it's just absolutely overwhelming. But I'm going to commit today to writing that just one sentence. That one sentence that I know has to go in there somewhere in that project. And when you show up and you write that one sentence, I can almost guarantee you're getting 2 or 3 or 4, a paragraph, a page. You do those 2 dishes. You're going to finish that whole sink, and then tomorrow, guess what? You don't have to worry about it. You're going to answer that old email, and the response is going to be something that just lights your soul up. You're going to be like, wow, I should have did that earlier. But you know what? It's about those small little moments, those small little gifts. The universe is always showing you. Literally always showing you. When you start showing up for yourself intentionally, I don't care how small the step is. If you can do that and commit to yourself, not only are you telling and showing the universe, you're showing your angels, you're showing God, I'm trying, no matter what it is. I committed to this, and I am actively doing it. I don't care how small the step is. I committed, and I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I know it's going to lighten my load for the next step. And when I do the next one, I start showing up again. What happens? My soul, my inner child, my highest best self sees that I've made that decision, I've committed to it, and I honored it, just like I would honor showing up to work, just like I would honor that doctor's appointment, just like I would honor that. But this time I'm honoring myself. I'm saying, no, my wants, my needs, my desires, my achievements are just as important as all those other ones. Forget about everyone else's expectations. We do that all year long. If we can learn to do this small little thing for ourselves each and every day, that small step becomes a big leap, and you didn't even realize it. It was all baby steps. But you look back and you're like, holy crap, how did that happen? You happened. That same energy that you do for this entire world every single day, for your kids, for your husband, for your family, for your work, for all of these people, every single day of your life, if you take just this much of that energy and you give it back to yourself, it's going to spread out exponentially to all of them. They're all going to notice the difference, 11:31 on the clock. They're all going to notice the difference. Because when you give from a full cup without expectation, it doesn't hurt or hinder you. It expands your time. It expands your desires, your creativity, your ingenuity. When things seem so hard and you're like, oh, well, this would be fun to check out. And all of a sudden you've created something that's so amazing and so time-saving and so helpful for other people. You created some invention that never was before, and you're a billionaire because this flash of an idea that you had because you took some time to your damn self. Because you understood how important you are. You show up every single day, and you're the miracle. You are. And if I can if I can convince one person of that, if I can plant that seed enough that you show up one way intentional, one way a little more intentional for yourself, then I'm helping. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. And I promise you, the universe is always going to have me covered. It's always going to have me protected. Because I'm not doing it for anything else but because I know it worked for me. It saved my life. And it will save yours. When you run yourself ragged to exhaustion, when you become so drained, the idea of getting up to do one single dish in your sink is torture. It feels like the thing that you, like, breathing becomes an actual chore. We're done living like that. We've been living like that under the weight of everybody else's expectations. We're tired. We're doing it our way. And when we start doing it our way and we listen to our soul, 11:33, we open ourselves to the universe and the wonderful web it weaves. We open ourselves up to being that great oneness, right? We can pull information because we're quieting our mind enough. We're quieting all of the other expectations and we're learning what we truly desire. And then we can pull that information. We may not be able to have it right away, but we have that information and now we know what we're trying to get to. And maybe we don't know how we're going to get there. But we know the first step, the second step, we know if we take that step, the other one. We may have to take a couple steps that are blind, but we're trusting. Why are we trusting? Because we showed up for ourselves this whole way. And every time we showed up, we learned a lesson, good, bad, ugly, but we learned. And it made us stronger, faster, better, smarter, more compassionate for those around us, for ourselves. So every step we took was in our right direction. And when you come to that point and you start trusting yourself and showing up for you, the world has a way of showing up for you too. The world starts weaving its magical web in your favor. Balanced for, I love these cards. They're beautiful. The artwork. This is the Beyond Lemuria, the Izzy Ivy deck. Man, the talent that comes, like this one deck, and I don't have any other ones of this one, but the painting, the talent, the words put into this blows my mind. And you can't tell me this didn't start with just a creative spark. Taking that moment to sit with themselves and understand what it is that their soul was crying out for. This amount of beauty took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of intentionality. And when we begin to understand that, we understand, like, maybe it wasn't done in a day. Maybe it took a year. Maybe it was a side project that took a few years. Every single one of these is artwork. It's an actual painting. It's phenomenal. And it happened because somebody set an intentional step, didn't matter how big or small, in that direction. It blows my mind every single day. Number 19, angel number. There's lots of angel numbers. We got 19, 36, 38, 44, 10, 10, 11, 33, 11, 11, 11, 31, angel number 19. There's a lot of them. And it's because these are guided action steps all on their own. And when you take the moment to look them up, you create a space of healing. You create a space of learning and understanding what your soul is leading you to. Listening to this message, watching this message, taking a little moment to research just one of those numbers that caught your little, made you feel pulled, it's going to have an answer that just you need. Just you, your own self. And it's going to be that little spark, that little push that says, just do it. Just take that step for yourself. And that's all I care about. All right, balanced forces. Yin and yang, productive flow, masculine and feminine energy, the balance of duality, patriarchal paradigm, being rebalanced, equality, balance in perspective. The Lemurian people are said to have been androgynous, meaning they were not a specific gender, as they were only partially formed in the physical realm. They did not inhabit a paradigm of duality. They were a perfect balance of what became masculine and feminine energy as it densified in physical form. We all hold a mix of masculine and feminine energies within us. Masculine energy is more about focus in a forward direction, while feminine energy is more holistic and peripheral. Masculine energy is that of logistics and actioning desires into being, and it has more of a controlled and rigid vibration. Feminine energy is a freer flowing, nurturing, creative, and receptive. Both sides are to be celebrated, but in our efforts to rebalance, inequality and prejudice can occur. In the current paradigm, masculine and feminine energies are imbalanced as our global culture is largely patriarchal. Oh my lord, there's some big words, sorry. And strongly influenced by masculine energy. Efforts to revitalize the feminine flow have been incrementally shifting the balance over the last century. It is time to calm mind-based intellect, scientific data, linear direction, and acquisition of power. To have an optimal human experience, we must embody a balance of masculine and feminine energies. We can daydream in receptive fluidity and then action our ideas into reality. The baby steps. We can be soft and nurturing and also firm and direct as needed. We can be determined, compassionate, grateful, vulnerable, visionary, and strong. There can be focus and free flow. We may not draw on these energies simultaneously, but when we access both equally, we can be truly powerful, centered beings. When we bridge the duality within ourselves, we can seed more balance in our outer world. This card invites you to look at masculine and feminine energy from a more balanced perspective. Is the situation at hand on the more masculine side of the spectrum? Can it be tempered with feminine energy? Vice versa. Would the addition of masculine energy bring balance? What needs to happen to form a more holistic and equalized foundation? Do you normally hold a position of one extreme? How might you balance this so you can experience a more optimized state of being? To bring more masculine drive and focus to a situation, for instance, if you have some upcoming due dates and need to get into action mode, focus on your goals, desires, and ambitions. If you want to engage more feminine energy for receptivity, trust, flow, and surrender, consider all the things you are grateful for already. Feel the warmth, gratitude, and comfort of knowing everything is divinely perfect just the way it is. Some people are already doing the action steps. Over and over and over, they're doing them. That's what they do inherently. That's their masculine. It's the do, 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 do. And I know what it's like. And sometimes that baby step, that action step is taking that moment to sit still in the quiet. Some of us, that feels like torture because we don't know how to sit still. And that's okay. We're learning and we're growing, but we know that one baby step in that direction, whether it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, eventually we're going to get it to where it needs to be, right? But showing up intentionally when we do it, the universe starts to weave more ways and to make it doable for us, right? And if it takes more masculine, if it's the balance that you need is to get up and go, and it's the completely opposite, then it's committing to doing those 2 dishes today, and you end up doing the whole sink, because that's who you are. And once you start a task, you're probably going to try to finish it, because it's usually not about the job itself. It's about the ignition, the getting started, right? And learning that balance. That is the best thing that I can teach anybody today. I don't have all the answers, but I just know what worked for me. And I know that learning that balance takes commitment. It takes practice. It takes self-love, self-care, gratitude. Those are, I am affirmations. You can't do it, you're just afraid to do it, or you feel like you just can't. I am going to take one action step today towards that goal. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm gonna sit down and think about it till I have to figure out what. But if I have 3 different decisions, I'm gonna make one choice and go. Right? It's gonna be one committed thing. Doesn't matter what it is, but you're gonna speak it into the universe. You're gonna speak your greatness. You're gonna show up in your greatness. Can I have a couple of these? Don't give me too many, but we love these, and you know I do. 2. You want to give me one more? All right. So we got transformation. I am constantly evolving. I improve inwardly by working on my weaknesses and refining my strengths. Life ensures I'm presented with situations that will help me learn and grow. I am aware of my progress and open my wings to the light. That's where true transformation begins. One intentional step. If it's one intentional step slowing down, sitting in that moment because that's what you need, it's still an intentional step. And yes, for some of us, sometimes the intentional step is sitting still, which is just sounds sometimes crazy. People are like, what do you mean? But when you're go, go, go and you never stop, learning how to not just sit still, like physically still, learning how to still the brain of the thoughts, the negative thoughts, the programming, the expectations, the grief, the worry, the fear, all the things that there should be that doesn't need to be. That's an intentional step too. It's not always that movement. Sometimes it's the cease of movement, right? Welcome, Will. And then we have the voice of the heart. I silence the fear in me and discover the voice of my heart. The fruit of these words guides me. I trust the song of my soul. My intuition leads me on the path of light. When you take that moment, that intentional step, and it doesn't matter whether it's checking one email, writing one sentence of a project that you've been putting off. It doesn't matter if it's taking that 2 minutes or 3 minutes to sit with yourself in peace and quiet your mind. Intentionally making that decision. Nope, fear, you don't belong here. Nope, worry, you don't belong here. This is my 3 minutes, and we're going to dream of greatness. We're going to sit in gratitude. We're going to sit in empowerment, even if we're not sure how it feels. That's what we're going to do. That is that one intentional step, okay? That's your intentional grind, and it doesn't matter whether it's action or stillness. What matters is you know what you need most. And the only way to truly figure it out and understand is to take one actionable step, one intentional step. Then we have the path to light. I make the conscious choice to move toward the light one step at a time. Baby steps. I don't care how many it takes, okay? I transform my weaknesses into strengths by mastering my thoughts. I overcome obstacles with positivity and acceptance. I develop my gifts and extend my light to every being unconditionally. You know how you do that? When you start showing up for yourself. When you start filling your own cup, it just overflows out. It's not even something you have to think about. It just inherently happens because your cup is so full. That space of love, of calm, of joy, of empowerment, of confidence, it's full. It just flows out. And you know what happens? People just in your area, in your surrounding, in your aura, in your field, they get their cup filled up inherently. You lead by example without even trying. You just intentionally showing up, loving yourself, and doing the thing that you need for yourself. And when you do that, Everybody sees it. They may never tell you, and that's okay. We're not doing it for other people. We're doing it for us. We're choosing to do something for us no matter who the hell is around, who cares, who has an opinion about it. It's not our business. What is our business is, can I look at myself at the end of the day and say, that one intentional step, I said I was going to do it. I showed up, I did it, and it actually led to 3 more intentional steps. So not only did I meet my goal, I met it, I exceeded it, I overcame it, and man, I'm already on the new path. And I'm excited to do it again tomorrow. Hello, Moto. Sorry, spam calls always tend to show up when I'm doing my live, but it's okay. And then the inner work. God brings me ideal situations for my inner healing. As I become aware of my weaknesses, I turn them into strengths. I direct my thoughts. Sorry, it's still going. I don't know who it is. Anyways, okay. As I become aware of my weaknesses, I turn them into strengths. I direct my thoughts towards the light and see the positive side of every stage of my life. Darkness turns into courage, thus I get stronger. We find a way to turn that darkness into light. What is going on? I'll have to call it back after. That's what happens when people try to drain your energy, and that's okay. You can't drain my energy because it's always protected. What I give freely from an overflowing cup. Okay, can I have another angel number, even though we have a long list already? 1212, persistence, that's on the bottom. And that number matters, just in case you didn't know. What is today? What is the date today? 1212. So I'm going to read it just because. Persistence, enthusiasm, gratitude, fulfillment, transformation, new experiences. A wonderful opportunity aligned with your life's purpose is approaching. When it arises, take immediate action to embrace it. Additionally, a loving partnership or an epic romance may be on the horizon. Maintain your persistence and welcome the positive transformations coming your way. 12/12. It's portal day. One intentional step could change your life. Could change your whole entire life. 0909. This is the one I shuffled out. But the bottom of the deck I had to read because it is more aligned than you can even begin to imagine. New beginnings, opportunity, courage, achievement, endings, new beginnings, adventure, love. Keep an eye out for an opportunity that could change everything. You are completing something significant, and it's rewarding to see yourself level up. It's time to close an old chapter and embrace the new adventure that's about to unfold. Well, I appreciate all the likes. That's really sweet. 0909, okay, and 1212. There's a list of numbers. When you start seeing them randomly, 44, 36, 38, 19, 1111, 1010, 1133, 1122. Start looking up the angel numbers. Do a little homework. Get curious. It's not about doing anything crazy. It's just about getting curious. There's a long list, and the reason I remember them is because I'm guided by angel numbers. They saved my life at a time where I didn't think getting up to do some dishes in my sink was even going to be possible. There was a time where sweeping my floor or showing up for myself, sitting still for one moment to give myself rest even in the face of chaos. There was a time when that was almost impossible. I didn't think I was going to survive, but I did, and it was because of that one intentional baby step. That one small thing that I chose to do to show up for myself. I committed to it, and I continued doing it each and every day. It can literally change your life, okay? That was a quick one. Okay, give me a couple more. You know I like these ones. I'm never going to get mad about these. 2. Yeah, I love that one. These are affirmations. I could just do 1,000 a day because there's nothing more empowering than learning our own strengths and understanding them and being able to walk forward in them, knowing, being unshakable. All right. So we have, I can expand time when I'm inspired. When you run around in chaos and craziness and trying to catch up, I appreciate all the love. Truly, I do. I'm going to go check out your profile when I'm done here. I got to give you some love right back. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day. I can expand time when I'm inspired. When you show up from that space of, I'm intentionally showing up, I'm going to do what I need to do for me. For me. For me. That time, that 2 minutes, that 5 minutes, that 6 minutes can turn into 1,000 minutes because you learn how to expand it. The amount of stuff you can get done when you're being still, the amount of things you can get done, the ideas that come into your head, the desires, the empowerment, the confidence that come into your head really truly expand because that intentionality, the way you choose to make that step, to make that decision. When you clear that negativity off of your path because you took that one intentional step to remove it, the next day it's not there anymore. Even 10 minutes later, it's not there anymore. Your load has been lightened. Thus, you will have more energy, no matter where you're starting from. And every time you do that, you lighten the burden, you lighten the load. How much farther can you go when you have a lighter load? I accept the gifts I've been given as a high service to the world. When you show up for yourself and you love yourself and you make intentional steps forward, not from expectation, not from keeping up with the Joneses, not from worrying about what your parents, your grandma, your mom, your dad, anyone's going to think. Showing up intentionally for you, for just a small moment, a small step. You get to realize what your gifts are. You get to be grateful for all the things the universe is trying to show you. And you're open to seeing it. My kindness is a gift I bestow on the world. You know how much harder it is to give kindness when you're giving from a lack perspective? When you're giving from a place of, how come no one else is filling my cup? Why do I always feel without? Why? See how much easier, how much more empowering it is when you fill your cup first, then you show up. That kindness just spills out. You don't even have to work for it. It's just there. And it's amazing. And it just boils out and it overflows. It bubbles over. And everybody gets to experience just a little of it. And it's your gift because you're giving it and you're not hurting yourself. You're not hindering yourself. You're bestowing it on the world because you're already overflowing. Because you decided to make that step intentionally for yourself and filled your own cup first. I'm never going to get enough of these ever in my life. And if you can't tell by the way I talk about it and why I'm so passionate about it, because I actively do it. I have learned these. I have used these tools my entire life. To what extent? Like, obviously, the more you know, the more you grow. And sometimes you had to go back, forth, sideways. Healing is a messy journey, right? It's not always easy, and there's betrayals, and there's all kinds of things that we have to go through. But when we learn to understand what they're teaching us, man, the empowerment, there's nothing I can't do. Truly, there's nothing I can't do. Maybe I can't do it immediately, but I can learn how to do it. And if I want to do it bad enough, I already know, and I've proven that I absolutely will. So, and we all are like that. And when we start showing up for ourselves, one step at a time, we truly prove that to ourselves. My productivity stems from inspiration. When I focus on what brings me joy, my tasks become effortless actions. When I tell you how much joy I get from coming on and doing these, doesn't matter. I have a business, whether it makes money or not, it doesn't matter. This is my joy. This brings me peace. This makes me feel good because I know if one person, I plant a seed, and I know I have already, right? Maybe I get lucky in one seed a day. If I can plant one seed a day, holy crap. I'm creating quite the ripple in this world. But it all started with me showing up intentionally and understanding that I was inherently worthy. When you do something you love, you can't be upset. You can't ever be, it doesn't feel like a chore because you're grateful to be able to do it and you love it that much. I am willing to see my sameness with others. This opens my awareness to oneness. We are all the ocean. Do you know what that means when you sit down and you intentionally take that moment? You can pull from that ocean because we're all just a drop in the ocean. But collectively, we're the ocean. So look at all that knowledge, all that understanding, all that empowerment, all the confidence, all the beauty, all the amazing, the knowledge, all of the stuff that's out there. It's there. We are all one. We can all pull from that great oneness and learn exactly what it is that we need. If we learn how to sit and understand in that oneness, we can pull the next step. We can understand the next step. We can step forward and know that the next step is going to let us go and not let us fall. Because we trust. Because we know that we're pulling from that oneness exactly what we need when we need it. That's a fucking miracle all on its own. And it's the greatest miracle there ever will be. That is the God in all of us. We are not God. We are made in His likeness. So if you want to know and understand what God is trying to say, what God is trying to teach us, get to know ourselves in our most pure desires, wants, needs, good, bad, the ugly. And then understand that we all have that oneness in us. And when we get to that oneness, all of the answers will show up. Just because we can't see them all laid out in front of us. We trust in that faith. We trust in that oneness, that omnipresence, that God within all of us. God is the ocean, but God is also all of us. We are a drop, but God is all of us. And when we learn and understand that, we bring miracles every single day. My greatest experience of freedom comes when I let go of what others think of me. It's not our business. We don't care about that. You know who I care who thinks about me? God. You know who I care who thinks about me? My daughter. But most importantly, me. I have to look at myself in the mirror. And if I love myself and I'm showing up for myself and I'm being intentional with everything that I think, every way that I step forward, and it takes practice. Okay, we're always going to step out of line. There's going to be things because life's. But when we know how to get back to this still point, to this quiet moment, to this space of love and understanding and being curious, every warrior step forward, every intentional step forward is a miracle, and it just guides us to our next one. It's truly the biggest miracle you're ever going to understand, and we all have it right inside us all the time at any given time. Welcome, Jack. So that's pretty much all I got on this message. I always post a replay on my YouTube at Creativity Guides Me. I don't know if I have put up the Grace and the Grind section yet on the website, but I do have the Fire and Flow series from the month before. This one I might wait and put up when it's completely all 4 sections. But otherwise, I always upload it the same day on my YouTube, so you can go there. Or you can go to my website, which is www.creativelyguided.ca. You can go there. You can check out my teas. They're all handmade with love and intention, and they come with little rituals to sit and be present and be grounded in our own space, in our own love, in our own gratitude, and how to show up from a point of love, right? And gratitude and excitement and intention. I have all my artwork. I have my alignment bundles. I have guided journals. I have reflection stories that are immediate downloads. You don't have to wait. All kinds of stuff there. I have my healing hub, some breathing exercises, things that can be very, very helpful in times of anxiety or trying to figure out which way to step forward. And of course, I created the Healing Hub. You can book guided readings. I do not do tarot future readings. I don't do, and to each their own. Whoever does that, beautiful. I'm happy for them. I like to keep things grounded, intentional. We want to bring spirit to us. We want to guide ourselves how we can move intentionally. These are simple things. But we use spirit, our ancestors, our spirit team, our angels, God, to guide us with those steps, right? How we can bring that here and move intentionally. And when we do that, we absolutely create heaven on earth. And that is the true goal. We don't need to wait to get to heaven. We're already in heaven when we learn how to create it. So, and it takes time, and it takes practice, and you're not always going to be there 24/7. But once you learn how to find it and allow it to come to you, it can't be paid for. There's not a billionaire in the world that can say that knows that feeling unless they've put that intention into learning and finding what it is, right? They didn't buy that. They intentionally created that, period. And when we learn that, that means we can achieve any one of our dreams, no matter what it is, when we learn to bring heaven on earth. So next week is going to be, I forgot to pull it up, but it is I believe it's capacity, give me just one sec, sorry. My computer's slow. I just don't want to lie to you. I'm creating all the ads and stuff today, and it will be up, but can't read either. Blah, blah, blah. That's the still point. That was last week. Sorry, my computer freezes up. I believe it's capacity. Damn, I need to get my glasses. See, that's something that I've been dragging my butt on. Maybe I need to get my butt in gear into it. Oh my God, sorry, this is taking longer than I thought it would. I was organized to this point. That's the best you're going to get out of me. Strengths and weaknesses. Technology is definitely not a strength. Damn it. Anyway, it's capacity versus capability or something, which is just learning to find the balance, right? We're learning, it's week 4. We're almost there. Holy hell. Expectations versus capacity. So, Fiona, welcome. What we're learning is the difference between our expectations and other people's expectations and what we have the capacity to hold on to. Which is the best way to explain it. And when we understand how to find that still point, so our steps out are intentional, we also start to realize the true extent of our capacity, which is by far more expansive than we can even begin to understand. But when we do it from expectations, other people's expectations, it becomes a weight, a burden, something that we do not need to be carrying. So when we learn to switch that expectations of others to our own capacity, what we're able to handle and hold without being weighed down every single moment of the day, we create a much easier space to do these other steps. These steps circle to the next step, but also it becomes this circle, right? But it's one of those good circles. It's a good cycle that teaches us how to do it, and what we start to learn very quickly and very clearly where we are at each part of the step, and what we need to take and where we need to be, and what our expectations versus somebody else's expectations, and what we have the capacity to handle. Like, there's a lot of things that we learn in these small little steps, and we become proficient, even magnificent at them when we take those time to put that commitment in. Welcome, Maggie's Briv. Welcome. So that's what I have. If you want, go check out my website, check out my teas. It's Christmas time, it's winter, it's cold. What better time to have some tea? Start learning with the rituals. Check out the Healing Hub, all the good stuff there. You can follow me on YouTube. You can always go and look at my past lives. There's lots of good stuff there that's going to help you show up for your best self and love yourself no matter what's going on in the world. Because the one thing that we can control is how we show up for ourselves. And if that's the one thing that we can control, the only thing we can control, we should be the very best at it. I love you guys. I hope this helps. And have a good day.